On this episode, once again, we talk about A teams versus B teams. We talk about building someone's confidence, Del Taco running out of eggs. We talk about which team was my favorite, high school first love, and all kinds of other stuff. What's up, everybody? This is episode number 13 of Coach Knows Best. We are back at it. We're going to try and do the 2-episode thing. We only have 2 guests here. We still have Reagan Sanders in the house. Little Ray, he's here as well. And we're filming our unlucky number 13 episode. But I don't believe in luck. Number 13 is not an unlucky number, Reagan. This is going to be an amazing episode. Yeah. I'm super pumped up for it. I can feel the excitement from you, which is great. We went to breakfast this morning. We just eat fast food breakfast. We don't go to like restaurants and stuff. We went to Del Taco, and Del Taco ran out of eggs. I'm like, dude, we were like, it's breakfast. So they said they had some big order. So we went and saw my boy Carl, and we got a Carl's Jr. breakfast burger, a couple of biscuit sandwiches. We're pumped about that. It's freezing cold. The fields are closed. No practice tonight. No practice last night. I went running this morning, guys. Went to the gym, went running 5 miles. I walked 1 mile, little less than 1 mile, but I ran 4. What else we got? I think that's about it. I mean, I'm really pumped up about this episode. Reagan, do you know that our audience has expanded outside of Bakersfield? We have a question today from someone from Los Angeles area, Pomona area, FC Golden State. So that's the club that they play at, nice. That their child plays at. I think we're up to like 17 people that watch. So I'm pumped. You like that, huh? Yeah, I'm pumped about that too. So we're increasing in numbers. We're becoming infamous, which is more than famous. Okay, if you know what movie line that is from, I will buy you guys a shirt, an Aztecs shirt, which you can now buy, by the way, at soccer.com underneath the Aztecs team page section. You could buy all your fan gear needs. But if you can get that right, then I will buy you a shirt where there's a line and it says, infamous? Infamous? And then he says, no, Dusty, you don't understand. Infamous means that you are more than famous. So what movie is that from? I think that's about it. Let's get on with the show. This is just dumb.
My kid made the A team, but we don't care for the coach. We like the B team coach, but the level of play isn't as good. What do you think we should do?
Cool. So within this question, we've kind of answered this a couple of times already, but because our fan from outside of Bakersfield asked, we want to kind of answer it again. And there's some things that I want to bring up about it. Sometimes when I answer some of these questions, I only answer it from the perspective of one person or one circumstance, and there's a lot of circumstances. So sometimes when I answer questions, it's not even within the right dynamics. But so I'm going to try and answer it within 2. One dynamic would be this. If for some reason you don't like the A-team coach because maybe he yells at your kid a little bit more, maybe he holds your kid a little bit more accountable, maybe he's not as friendly, like after the games he doesn't want to sit there and talk with you for 30 minutes, but he's a good coach, then I obviously think that that's a poor reason to not go to the team. Also, in similar fashion, if the reason why you love the B team coach and everything like that is because he'll talk to you for an hour after practice, is because he isn't, really hard on your kid because maybe your kid is the best player on the team. I don't know, any scenario like that. Maybe you guys go to barbecues on the weekend or some scenario. If that is the reason why you like the B team coach and that's the reason why you don't like the A team coach, then basically I think you're not making a soccer decision, obviously, and you really need to be able to do something where you get out of the good old boy network friendly circumstances and really start looking at it from a soccer standpoint. Now, because I know the gentleman that asked this question, I know that that's not the case within their particular situation. So where I place the most value is on coaching. So I think that the illusion, let me give you a couple of scenarios, examples. This is going to be my longest answer of the day. Hopefully it's not too long. Let me give you a couple of different scenarios. The first scenario that I would give you would be, you have a team, right? So of 15 players. And let's say that at 10 or 11 years old, they're really good. Well, what you're focusing on at training sometimes has to do with being able to sustain that team at that level. The problem is from a development standpoint, of those 15 players, maybe 4 of them are falling behind. So those 4 players end up falling behind. In the meantime, at a B team, In the meantime, at another club, at the meantime, somewhere else, not on that team, you have kids that are training. 1 year passes, and we say, we still have these 11 players that are good. We're going to get rid of these 4. We're going to bring in these 4 new ones. So that team really actually wasn't good for that kid. 1 year later now, you have 15 players, 4 new players that have now had 2 years of what was necessary as far as sustaining the team, but not necessary for the individual development of the player. Now 4 new players move on. 4 new players elsewhere were getting developed by B team coaches, by C team coaches, by clubs that were in bronze or silver, and now they bring in those players. So this cycle occurs often where you end up getting to the point where at 17, 18 years old, because the entity of the team sustained a certain level, you end up having a team that from U10 to U18, you maybe have 3 players that remain. So the question is under that circumstance, was it the best thing to do to play against the best competition? It's a challenge, right? To me, it's a hard question because I even have to analyze this particular component within our own club. Do you sacrifice some of these things? Because the problem is that other players can keep up with the development component of that. So I think that the bottom line is, in other words, is that I place my most value in the coach. You have a window, let's use college recruitment. You have a window of about 18 months for a college recruitment. So a kid plays from 8 to 18, 10, 11 years, and for 18 months of 10 years, you end up having this window that opens and closes in terms of college recruitment. Certainly there's other things, right? Pro, national team, and blah, blah, blah along the way, ODP, but you have an 18-month window for college recruitment. Everything else, therefore, is about development. So the most value should be placed at a coach. Another thing, though, that I want to add to this is that I want to place value on the parent that is piecing together their kid's development. I also really believe in this component as well. If you can stay on a top-level team, you have a good coach that's teaching you a lot of tactics, and you're only practicing 2 or even 3 nights a week, you really need to try and get your kid 1 to 2 nights a week of additional technical skill. Nothing but when I say technical, I mean individual skill. You want to make sure that you're getting your kid, again, 1 to 2 nights a week of nothing but individual skill, 2 to 3 nights a week of tactical aspects, right? Strategy, shape, structure. And that is really one way that you should be piecing together your kid's development. So from an A team to a B team standpoint, I would put my most value in the coach. But from an overall development standpoint, I would put not a lot of value in the overall aspect of just because they're the A team, it's going to be this end-all, be-all, one-size-fits-all, my kid's going to make it now, because I just see a lot of kids that end up falling behind. The last thing I'll say is this, because a part of the question when he asked this was the level of competition that he or she is going against at practice and at the games, like the better tournaments. I think that if you played, as an example, under 12 Surf Cup is similar competition or challenging in a similar way to under 14 Ventura Classic, right? Some random tournament. So I actually think that sometimes playing against better competition, playing indoor, depending on your age, playing indoor against players that are 2 years up, playing indoor against men or women if you're like a 15-year-old kid. These are the types of things where the environment and the challenge and the athleticism will actually extract more. You don't even need a coach. You could actually extract more out of your player. So in summary, I would look at it from the standpoint of piecing together your kid's development, not putting in too much value in the A team or the B team coach. And then I would chase the best coach, though, that you could possibly have. Additionally, I would get a lot of technical skill and work done wherever it is that I could. And additionally, I would also try and challenge my kid with additional gaming circuits outside of the norm, which would be maybe Mexican League, maybe a women's league, maybe a men's league, indoor. I don't know if I said that one this round. But playing with men. 15-year-olds, 14-year-olds in Brazil and Mexico, etc., they play with men. When you're a 16-year-old and you're good enough, you start playing with men, with 30-year-old men. So it's just a completely different mentality. That environment will help. The technical coach will help, and then your best coach, whether it be an A team or B team, from a tactical standpoint will help, and you're basically checking all the boxes. It's one man's opinion.
My child has lost a lot of confidence over the past year. What can I do to help build it back up?
So this is an interesting question. This is a hard one to answer. I don't think that there's a one-size-fits-all. I think that all the different tactics to try to build up a player's confidence back up, The analogy, I use this analogy a lot in a variety of different ways, is you have a bucket of spaghetti, you throw it against the wall, and you see what sticks. What I mean by that is when you want to build up a player's confidence, you don't know what it is that's going to trigger it. So you just want to do a lot of different things to try and build it back up. Obviously, I think that it starts with really identifying why did their confidence start to drop, right? Are they a forward that ended up missing a lot of goals? Did they used to be a starter and now they're not a starter? Are they a defender that's continuously messing up? Are they a goalie and the ball keeps going through their hands? So there's a wide variety of different reasons why confidence drops. Usually it's usually a shift in playing time. So what I would do is I would just get more minutes. I'd get more at bats. I would first go out there and have I would try to get them to go and play some additional games and different things in different circumstances where they're going to be noticeably the best player. So here it is that your kid is, like if we piggyback a little bit of the first question, if your kid is lacking a little bit of confidence, I probably wouldn't play them 2 years up in some type of indoor league or whatever it may be. I'd play their age against some donkey kids and they score a bunch of goals, and I would blow that up like it's the best thing ever. Like, man, did you see when you did this? Did you see when you did that? That was amazing, right? This is from a parent standpoint. I would definitely do that. I'd talk to the coach. I wouldn't bombard the coach, but I'd talk to the coach and say, hey, this is kind of some of the reasons why I think my kid's confidence is dropping. Don't go to the coach and say, I think that my son's confidence or my daughter's confidence is dropping, because that's your perspective, your subjective opinion. The coach may disagree. If it's like, I talked to Betty in the car and Betty was telling me that she just doesn't know she's good anymore because of XYZ, then a coach should step in and be able to say to Betty, hey Betty, I know that you haven't got as much playing time. You know, you're doing really, really well. You just got to keep plugging away, whatever it may be, to try and sustain that player's confidence. So those are a couple of things off the top of my head that I would ultimately try. I just think positive reinforcement, continuously doing that. I think that's something where identifying what the problem is and then basically facing that head on, being like, we're going to show you. Like, I'm really big on that. Like, we're going to show you. And the littlest minor result in success within that, you got to blow it up like it's the biggest thing. And so, I think about things in my own personal life in general. This is stupid. This isn't even directly correlated, but I'll still do it. It's a shout out to my dad. When I was a kid, my dad and I went to a fast trip. We were coming out, and they used to have like these things that were called newspapers. And it was like a little newspaper stand. You put the 50 cents in, and you pull it out, or a quarter, and you open up this thing, and then you pull the paper out, and you put it back, right? So it's locked. You can't pull out the paper. So we're coming out. I'm like 7 years old. So my dad ends up, there's a paper that's hanging out. My dad pulls the paper out. We get into his truck. He didn't pay for it. And then he stopped, and then he went back and he paid the 50 cents. And so the point is, the only reason why I bring up this story is that he paid it. It was like a shocking thing to me. And he told me this story about basically you always pay what you owe. And for the rest of my life now, I've had that mentality. So when you blow up, when you really make a big deal about little things, I think that they stick, in my personal opinion. And so when they score a goal, you should talk about it. You should tell, like if it's like a sibling that wasn't at the game, it's like, oh, you should have saw Betty's goal today. It was amazing. Maybe one of the best goals she ever scored. No, really, it was probably some donkey goal that went off of her face into the goal. But you blow it up, you hype it up, you make it a big deal. Make little things a big deal until it gets to the point, right, where they got their confidence back, and then it's like, dude, you need to suck it up and be better. But you like that. So, but at the end of the day, those are just some tricks that I would probably do.
Of all the teams you've coached, which is your favorite?
So this is going to be a tricky question. I have a simple answer. The teams that I've coached are kind of like my children. I have no favorite. They all hold a special piece of my heart. Mm-hmm. Now, like all my aunts and uncles, they're all my favorite. All my siblings, they're all my favorite. All my children, they're all my favorite. Mm-hmm. And all the teams that I coached are all my favorite. Now, the very first team that I ever coached, 93 and 94s, they'll always hold a special part of my heart. It's kind of like your high school, like, girlfriend, boyfriend. It's like the first love type of a concept. But so I would look at that as far as the 93 and 94s go. Boys-wise, the 99s have a special piece of my heart as well because of so many different reasons, and I kind of went from the beginning to the end with them. The 93 and 94s, I really kind of messed up. I did made a lot of bad choices as it pertains to their career, and it's definitely not the 2008s just because I coached my son. I'm just kidding. The 2005 girls, they were the first girls team I ever coached. They have a special piece of my heart. The 2003 girls, though, were the first girls team that have really been ballers and can knock the ball around and play. So I like them. But the 2005s are coming up. Like, there's all kinds of different things. 2008 boys right now, they're coming up. Of course, there's the 2003 boys that I coach. They're great. So I really love all of the teams. If I had to give a slight edge to anybody, I would say that it's the 99 boys. Sweet, that's it. Episode 13 in the books. Thank you so much for tuning in. I never asked this, but Reagan is adamant that I started asking. Please subscribe. Don't just watch our shows without subscribing. Please subscribe. I don't know if there's actually any value in having more subscribers, but if you feel like subscribing, hit the button. Bing, 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 bing. Additionally, if you have questions, please ask them. Ray7Sanders@gmail.com. That's Ray7Sanders, like the Colonel, KFC, @imag.com. Episode number 13 wasn't unlucky for us, huh, kids? Okay.
That was awesome.
Thank you very much. Bang, you guys should for sure send us some money. Soccer.com, you should as well, because we would like to buy better equipment for a better microphone system. I'm just kidding, of course. I really have nothing else. Thanks for tuning in. Let me know who it is. For a question, who would you like to see as a guest? That's what I'm really curious about, so that I could go after them, or topics or anything like that. Other than that, though, keep tuning in. We'll see you guys next time. Peace out.